Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Tiny Bunny. Um, so, with the first chapter, I don't know, I put a comment up in the other video, but in the first chapter, it wasn't voiced at all. Um, so, I had to read everything, which is not a problem, of course, but I wasn't expecting when I went to the Steam page and purchased this for the other chapters that there would be voice acting. But the voice acting is in Russian, and I'm unsure if you can turn it off or not, but I'm not going to turn it off. I was thinking about it just in case anybody wanted to watch this and not have to read anything. Because I'm not going to read over the voice while it's going, but I mean, we're just gonna go ahead with it. I feel like the voice acting is very good too. Like it's much better than my lame ass speaking, so I'll be more like a narrator this time around. Anyway, I ended up getting back to this point where he said, "The day I feared the most, the first day of new school term." Let's see, episode 2, time to play with you. New school, new teachers, and most importantly, new classmates, who I always have trouble connecting with. Like most other kids with glasses, probably. I forced myself to get out of my warm bed. Dad would usually drive me to my old school, but this morning the bedroom of my parents was silent. They sleep in. Maybe it was a good thing. I didn't want to get the daddy's boy reputation from day one. My parents were probably still tucked in, dreaming about the good old days when everything was so simple and easy. Sweet dreams, even if far removed from reality. I silently snuck out to the first floor so I wouldn't wake up anybody, especially the peacefully sleeping Olia. Her voice sounds really good in this too. Everybody's voice sounds really good, but I did my best to step on the middle of every floorboard. I used to play like this, even in our old apartment. If my shoes touched the space between floorboards, it counted as stepping into lava. The clock was spurring me on with its hands. I need to hurry. Faster, faster. I was too fast, so I needed to circle the hallway once again. Boiling lava was bursting out of the cracks between the floorboards. I needed to watch my step to survive at any cost. Hippity hop, like a frog. Sorry, I accidentally skipped it. Said hippity hop, like a frog jumping on molehills, like a fearful bunny in a grove full of wolves. I made a sandwich in the kitchen, shoved it down my throat, and drank it down with cold tea. My appetite was as good of someone being led up the scaffold toward the guillotine. That was a weird sentence. I lowered my gaze and saw that one of my feet was standing on 2 floorboards at the same time. Burnt to a crisp, huh? I moved my foot. Disgusting little snakes writhed in my belly. The fear of getting hit and being called nasty names. The clock clicked. I need to go. It was dark outside, fitting for an early winter morning. This darkness never fully left the houses around here. I took my time tying my shoes, buttoning up the puffy down jacket, trying to delay my unpleasant exit to the semi-dark, to the unnerving unknown. I rubbed my glasses for good luck, though I couldn't remember a single time these thick pieces of glass brought me any good fortune. It looks grim out there. Beautiful at the same time, though. The sky was akin to a giant bruise. On the east side of it, a black cloud was swelling up. It licked up stars from the sky and extinguished the rising sun. Darkness was plastered all over the treetops. The cautious cries of birds got tangled up in the thicket. I locked the front door with a long key that I wore around my neck. My parents made me wear this noose, afraid that I, being a total klutz that I am, could lose the key otherwise. The wind whizzed on the other side of the gate. It invited me into my new life toward dubious adventures. I tagged along, alone like an old buddy, pushing me in the back. Wide shadows that pines throughout covered a third of the clearing. Up on the edge of the forest, I hid my nose in the coat's collar. I was squeezing through the thin firebreak, my hair ruffled up and my back hunched over. Tall trees stood on both sides of the tiny trail. The snowy blanket rustled under my feet, and a canopy of intertwined branches above my head cut me off from the already sparse starlight. The night had no plans of moving away from the forest. In this darkness, trees reminded me of shaggy old women that smelled of burial earth. Their trunks turned into cracked, wrinkled faces with holes in the middle as their mouths. If I lost focus even for a moment, mold-covered witches would drag me into the forest depths. Then my parents would be walking around these parts, screaming my name. The dead can't answer the living. Or can they? A sense of panic was growing in my chest. I was fine with Dad carrying me into the school in his hands by now, if it saved me from watching the darkness rise up in the ravines like black dough. It felt like someone jumped into the bushes behind me, so I turned around. As soon as I started walking faster, I heard the snow squeak behind me. Forrest took a deep breath with its giant lungs. The windfall cracked. The wind and the birds were left behind in the field. Now I could only hear the forest creak. I walked, listening closely, and the unseen presence grew stronger, as if someone was following me, trying to match the pace of my footsteps. I turned my head so fast it made my neck crunch. The tiny trail behind me disappeared into darkness. Tree branches overlapped, forming a natural tunnel. The question escaped my lips and dissolved into the unending creaking sound of the wooden idols that pined around me. Why did I think going through the forest alone was a good idea? I'm either gone mad, or someone had intentionally lured me away from home. Distant lights granted me a smidgen of hope. A country road. I ran there as fast as I could, as if afraid that the trail will shrink. Clawed hands will grip me by the shoulders, turn me around, and make me look at the faces of hungry, frozen denizens. In the end, nobody stopped me. I almost flew into the decrepit wooden bridge, disbelieving my luck. The bridge's support bathed in a spring terry and ice cold. I put my hands on my knees and looked up at the forest. It snorted, trying to calm my breathing. The thicket was pretending to be asleep. It looked peaceful, lifeless. The remaining part of my commute lied through a snow-laden road illuminated by sparse lamplights. Chased away bad thoughts and ran as fast as I could, from one circle of light to another, seeking protection from electric lamps. Just like in that game where you need to be the first to proclaim, I'm protected. It's just in this case that protection was flimsy at best, with darkness writhing outside its bounds. Then I noticed something remarkably eerie. Oh yeah, that looks pretty normal. In a place where light from an inclined lamp couldn't reach, a hairy, crooked shadow came alive with a roar. It almost felt like its features deterred light, its unnatural pose instilled fear. My eyes almost popped out of their sockets as I just stood there, blinking, trying to chase away that illusion. But the shadow didn't disappear and even got closer. My insides were gripped by horror. I stepped back and almost fell into a snow pile. A black silhouette, on the other hand, straightened up and addressed me in a sweet voice. Oh. Sorry, I said words got stuck in my throat. Who could be talking in such a silky voice here between the forest and the dormant village? Don't do that. A girl stood before me, judging from the voice and the silhouette. But I couldn't even reprimand myself for getting scared by a girl before noticing a gaping mouth under her hood with something dangerously shiny inside. I was stunned. Oh yeah, that's pretty normal. In the cavity of her hood, a frighteningly real fox face was staring straight at me. It's just her jaws weren't moving and her eyes weren't blinking. Mask. It's just a girl with a fox mask on. At least I wanted to think that. After a surprise like that, a nervous smile involuntarily crept into my face.
Просто в школу иду, а тут ты.
Что я? Никогда не видел, как лиса собаку кормит.
And indeed, there was a small dog circling the girl's legs. One of the strays that were chasing me yesterday, probably.
Извини, я не хотел.
After hearing my voice, the dog whimpered, lowered its ears, sniffed out, and then started wagging his tail. I guess I still smelled of bologna that I ate for breakfast. I was shifting my gaze back and forth from the dog to the girl. She didn't seem scary anymore, just weird.
Значит, не хотел. Ну-ну. Как тебя зовут?
Anton.
Меня Антон,
Yeah.
а тебя?
А
She's weird. Definitely has a couple of loose screws. But she has a nice voice. My astonishment has turned into a mix of happiness and relief. This girl I didn't know was definitely human, if a bit eccentric. I was also a bit angry at myself. This foxy girl was walking through the darkness without a problem, and I shuddered from every little sound. I could just walk away, but this girl had piqued my interest. The next time a police officer asks me about my friends at the new place, I'll tell him that I befriended a talking
Здесь
fox.
живешь? В поселке?
The fox giggled and purred. She spun around so hard the hem of her coat lifted up.
Нет, глупый. Лисы не живут в поселках.
Хочешь сказать, ты живешь в лесу?
Из какой норы ты вылез? Конечно! Лисам среди людей не выжить. Пока они лисы.
Her jokes were also weird. Just like her carnival mask. Papier-mâché with fur glued onto it. Such a cute dog. The dog reminded us of its existence with a loud bark. I unfastened my backpack. Dad would sometimes throw food in there without my knowledge, cookies, apples, or even my favorite crab sticks. He called it a gift from the bunny. The stray strolled toward me with mincing footsteps, pleading look in its eyes. Fox had definitely treated to something, but it was probably still hungry.
Зачем ты так вырядилась с утра пораньше? На утренник идешь?
The girl shrugged, throwing silvery snowflakes off her nose, and her human form along with them, turning into a genuine beast. A real fox, agile, cunning, dangerous. A moment of hesitation, and you'll be ripped to shreds. She'll tear you up and gulp you down without breaking a sweat. I couldn't help but just stand there as a stump. Till I heard her calm, melodic laughter hidden underneath a beastly mask. I like how he's saying she's got a nice voice and this like calm, melodic laughter. What are you talking about, dog? You can hear like a second voice there. She doesn't even remotely sound human. But I do kind of like the voice, I'm not gonna lie.
Видел бы ты свою маску, сладенький.
I didn't get so you said that in Russian. Sweet. Did she say sweetie? No, she said swadinky. I got embarrassed, went red up to my hair roots. We'd seen a fox in a zoo once when we were there with Dad, but it had patchy fur, was gray and skinny. But this girl was a fiery color, furry, just like you now, just like in the fairy tales. I was still rummaging through my backpack. My fingers that were searching for the dog's treats stumbled upon some soft, crumpled object.
Чего? Скоро проснутся настоящие звери. Спроси-ка лучше у них, где они взяли свои человеческие лица.
The girl's shadow was dancing in the lamplight. The dog yapped in agreement. I freaked out and dropped my finding in the snow without getting a proper chance to examine it. Cold wind instantly covered the hole it created with snow. The dog rushed to dig it out, wanting to get its treat. And the fox just snorted. Now, I was so embarrassed I wanted to sink through the snow. It was still dark outside of the electric circle. On the contrary, the darkness seemed even more thick. All neighboring houses were sleeping deeply in its inkiness. I did my best to continue the conversation with the weird girl I didn't know.
Ты в школу идешь?
Ах, ну какой же дурачок! Так ничего и не понял.
Foxes don't go to school, silly. Well, I was trying to be friendly, but she wouldn't stop mocking me, calling me a dummy and all. I should have just moved along without paying any attention to this weirdo and her stupid dog. Hey, what the hell did the dog do?
Ты чего обзываешься? Не хочешь отвечать, и пожалуйста. Никто не требует.
You do. Still, something froze me in place, tucked me toward the dark figure, a mysterious appearance, her voice that was velvety, just languid enough. I was intrigued and excited. I watched her as people watch fires burn.
Ой, да не дуйся. Гляди-ка лучше. Ты нравишься Жульке.
The dog was digging through snow with sharp movements, snoring loudly. The fox turned around and looked at the windows of a nearby house and its timbered front through the white mist. The tip of her fake nose was shining under the lamp's light.
И не только ей.
We just met. Chill. Take me to dinner first. I went red again, like a boiled crayfish this time. Is she talking about herself or someone else? I hoped that the semi-dark would be able to hide my embarrassment from the girl. I cleared my throat before asking.
А кому еще я нравлюсь?
I waited, counting my heartbeat. The fox didn't reply. Her sly stare was scanning the frosty patterns of someone's windows. She was reading them like a glass book. I wonder what she could see in those winter paintings. Stray stopped rummaging through the snow. It ran to me, holding my object in her jaws. A mitten. Could it be the one I found in the forest? What was it doing here? When I looked closer, I realized that it was just my mitten. Maybe Mom stuffed it in there when I was asleep. A certain missing boy immediately came to mind.
Эй, ты знаешь что-нибудь про Вову?
I imagined the scene, silhouettes dancing in the clearing. The dance on the night when Volva had disappeared. A boy who, when found, can provide a big reward and maybe save my family. I remembered my birthday when our parents promised to take me and Olia to Disneyland in Paris, but instead of a long anticipated gift, they gave me a simple brick game console, visibly embarrassed. I was crying my eyes out back then, demanding to take me to the promised amusement park. That was the first time when my mom and dad had a big fight. My greediness shattered their relationship. If only I could fix everything, gather everybody I love and take them to Disneyland.
В ночь, когда пропал Вова, я, кажется, видел, как кто-то похожий на тебя плясал под моим окном.
It couldn't be true, but I felt like her mask became even more sly. Fox was sniffing me out.
А что, ты тогда испугался? За себя или кого-то еще?
Olia. As soon as I thought about my sister, my chest tightened. Its cold sweat streamed down my spine.
Ну так слушай меня внимательно, мальчик по имени Антон. Это большой и страшный лес.
The fox girl stepped forward menacingly.
И я не единственный его обитатель. Другие звери уже знают о тебе. Берегись нас. Этой ночью мы опять придем.
I shouldn't have talked to this evil and child form, I thought, panicking.
Пока ты со своей семьей будешь спать, подкрадемся близко-близко. И Макарену!
Чё?
Эй, Макарена!
His face.
У тебя прямо челюсть отвисла, Антоша! Видел он меня ночью у своего окна? Ага, как же! А ты случаем не местный дурачок, нет?
Are you fucking stupid?
Поздно. Здесь, знаешь ли, дети пропадают.
I touched the plastic frame of my glasses, puzzled by her silly joke. She got me scared to death.
Ой, да не тереби ты окуляры свои. Я раньше тоже близорукой была. Лучше послушай меня. Может быть, ума наберешься. Лисичку как обычно называют?
Плутовка?
My words seemed to hurt her.
Ох ты ж! Да как ты меня?
Ой, прости.
Her laughter was akin to the jingle of a pair of silver bells. I don't think this guy's ears need to be checked.
Да шучу я! Конечно, плутовкой. Если ты ловкий и смелый, не боишься с плутовкой водиться, я, так и быть, помогу разыскать этого Вову.
Oh, that's nice.
Ты же неспроста его ищешь, да?
I shrugged in reply. Her insight was alarming.
Знаю, почему дети повадились соваться в наш лес. Порой там можно найти много всякого интересного. Я вот однажды нашла целый сугроб конфет и купалась в нем. Да так что челюсть слиплась.
A pile of candy? I couldn't deduce whether she believed in what she was saying from the tone of her voice. I showed her another smile, a fake one this time.
Посмотрите-ка, какой недоверчивый. Ну-ну, а что ты на это скажешь?
held out her hand in a furry mitten. There was an assortment of sweets in her palm. In the city where I used to live, sweets like these were sold in markets and our kiosks. I saw my favorite bubblegum in a vivid wrapping paper among the tasty treasure. What is it with this information button? Oh, this is the glossary. Oh, cool. Nice. I never clicked that. A familiar name was on it. Turbo. A triangular fox face poked her nose toward me.
Обращайся. У меня их полные карманы.
Refuse or take? Let's hit the save. Oh, I didn't get one of the saves I needed. It's fine, it's fine. We'll take the candy. I accepted the treat and catching a whiff of the girl's smell. Fur, fireworks, and citrus, the smell of holidays. My fingers tingled while I was carefully unwrapping the gum. Peachy aroma entered my nostrils and something else. Something unfamiliar but pleasant. The fruity cube ended up in my mouth. I started moving my molars, chewing the gum. It tasted like your usual Turkish gum, only my tongue went a bit numb. I couldn't believe my luck after opening the insert. I'm assuming the insert just means the extra piece of paper. We'll just go look at the glossary, it's fine. Bubblegum insert games, a type of game where players put bubblegum inserts into their palm and try to flip it by throwing it in the air. The player who happens to flip one or more inserts claims, okay, I get it. Mercedes-Benz, nice. I looked at a Mercedes-Benz, an extremely rare and hence desirable collector's items for any boy from my previous neighborhood. My heart skipped a beat. I was barely able to tear my eyes off the insert, still stunned.
Это же... Это...
Теперь
Это...
понял, что можно найти в лесу. Только на твоем месте я бы туда в одиночку не ходила. Тебе вон от жвачки в забу дыханье сперла. А представляешь, что с тобой будет, если найдешь чемодан таких фантиков? Голову напрочь снесет. И пиши пропало.
Unusual treats. Just like everything else about her. I carefully hid the insert in my bag, as if I was putting a rare butterfly in a can. Fox giggled. This is not how things are supposed to go on a Monday morning. Who are you? I refrained from asking that question. She wouldn't answer anyway, or she'll just lie. I really wanted to see what's behind her mask. I was becoming more and more sure that underneath it wasn't just a simple young girl.
Может, Вова тоже нашел сугроб сладостей и теперь кувыркается в нем? Слушай, вдруг он решил остаться в лесу? Тогда, наверное, ему очень холодно в одной варежке.
The wind caught her words like smoke from a fire and carried them deep into the darkness, onto the creepy thicket. The trees behind me creaked with their bony branches.
Или с ним что-то случилось в пути.
Yeah, that's what we think.
Что-то страшное.
The forest reacted to her words, became alive, sniffed me out, perking up its ears just like a curious beast. The fox girl pierced me with her eyes again.
Такие звери?
Это, по-твоему, страшно?
Ну, не знаю.
Не знает. Уж не с двоечником ли я подружилась?
I didn't like being called a dunce, yet being friends with her sounded nice.
Я хорошист.
Grades are good.
Бел да пушист.
Really now.
Пойдешь со мной, хорошист Антон? Найдем твоего Вову, и сам его спросишь, что он нашел в этой пуще. Ведь пока мы вместе, никто тебя в лесу не тронет.
We don't know that. Worms of worry writhe in my belly. Better run, whispered my mind.
Я не верю.
Ты думаешь, я врунья?
Yes.
Ты, пожалуйста, мне никогда никто не верит.
The girl sounded hurt, although I didn't know if she was genuine about it. She turned around as if she had immediately lost all interest in me. The gum felt bitter now. I remembered my dad's favorite saying, "Where are your manners, son?" Indeed, this fox was kind to
Не
me.
обижайся, пожалуйста. Лисы бывают и добрыми. Ну, как в сказках. Мне бы только понять, что ты за лиса.
The girl giggled, hiding the nose of her mask in her hands.
Тогда пойдем со мной в лес, и ты все обо мне узнаешь. Но не сейчас, а когда рассветет. А то тебя, бедного, всего аж потряхивает. Того и гляди, кондрашка хватит. Айда, провожу тебя до школы.
After hearing this, the dog barked in agreement and stopped messing with the mitten. I leaned in, trying to grab the piece of handwear that almost ran away from me.
Если тебе по пути,
We went toward the school and the lost dawn. Here and there, the light came on in the windows of houses we passed, as if their inhabitants were sending us warning signs. Silhouettes lurked behind curtains, dogs let out occasional barks. Spirals of gray smoke rose from chimneys, TVs bristled, and dishes clanged in kitchens. We watched the village slowly rise from its slumber, carefully treading the snowy wheel trails. I walked in the left one, she took the right. The dog was following right behind us. I expected the fox to bring up something weird again, but she stayed silent all the way to school, as if playing with me some game only she was privy to. She would only giggle from time to time when the dog sneezed from the snowflakes that fell on his nose. I was the first to break the silence.
так как тебя зовут?
Ну, конечно. Имена, имена, имена. Людям непременно надо вешать ярлыки на все подряд. Ну и как бы ты назвал такую лису, как я?
Даже не знаю. Но я читал про лису по имени Алиса.
А что? Я не против. Пусть будет Алиса.
Couldn't understand if she was joking or not. Turned around as if looking for an answer from the dog, from the dark sky devoid of dawn. Silent questions were left unanswered. The school's outline was already in our sight. A giant brick box stuck in the endless night. Lights in its windows didn't bode well for me. The warden trees were guarding the school again. Screams, childish laughter, and someone's whistling tore up the silence. I went here with Mom when we had just moved to the place. And the place looked cozy at the time. Empty corridors that smelled of polish, puffy snow outside. Second time I came alone to get the books and just kept on imagining my peers rolling down the railings, grade schoolers running to the library, and teachers marching down the corridor with the air of self-importance around them. High schoolers were smoking at the entrance, track pants and wool caps perched on their foreheads. Their appearance destroyed the last hopes for a cozy school. Their stingy eyes and teeth, or stingy, their stingy eyes and the teeth yellow from nicotine, their smirks, all of it had the same gluing effect as a cloudy winter morning. Absorbed in my thoughts, I completely forgot about my companion.
После уроков жду тебя на заднем дворе. Возле повешенного.
The hanged man?
Возле кого?
He just ignored my question.
Не опаздывай.
Hesitated. Blowing hot and cold again. Mom always said that when I would have trouble choosing between two options. Thinking about Mom helped me reply.
Я после школы сразу домой.
Эх, Антоша, Антоша, это я тебя так просто отпустила. Другие же незаметно подкрадутся со своими улыбочками и вцепятся. Кли, попомни мои слова.
The fox opened her mouth in a wide yawn. What kind of trick is this? Someone running in the distance called out my name. I instinctively turned around. A huge snowball whizzed past my shoulder and hit the dog. It whimpered and ran toward the spring. The darkness devoured it. The fox girl was also nowhere to be seen. She dissolved into frosty air. Or was she hiding in my shadow? I gulped and swallowed the gum. Unlucky. Taking a deep breath, I went toward the school toward the...
Self-voicing enabled.
Whoops!
Self-voicing disabled.
That was an accident. I hit V. It just popped that up. After taking a deep breath, I went toward the school, toward the cutlets and dough, toward the light raining down onto the snow. Okay, let's see what we can interact with. Okay. Whose nest is this, I wonder? A thieving magpie? Then it probably has all sorts of shiny things in it. Pieces of colorful glass, bottle caps, polished coins, and child braces. A tall man was standing near the gate, puffing out clouds of smoke into the wind. He didn't look like a teacher. Was he the PE guy, maybe? I carefully studied his face that looked like it was cut from a piece of granite, and his and his hair hip that was holding down a cigarette. He was playing around with his car keys and staring back at us. The light from the cigarette was reflected in his eyes that were sitting deep in his pockets. Eye sockets, sorry, I think. I froze in place. The hulking man lazily tore off his eyes from us and walked toward the road. There was a fresh-looking Volga parked nearby, one of its front wheels perched up on the icy curb. Black like Sooth. Sooth? Black like Sooth? Whatever, as if it was straight out of the horror story Dad loved to tell me when we hid in the attic during a thunderstorm. I remember him always wearing a sad smile while mentioning the black car that snatched children. He would say, "It looks like a funeral car on the inside, white curtains and all. And it has DSC in its license plate. Do you know what that means? Death to Soviet children." Funny, I was born in the USSR too. Okay, we'll still just do this. A buzzing crowd of upperclassmen with their winter hats tipped to the side. I better not draw their attention. So we're just gonna go in, actually. And that'll be that. One moment. I'll be right back. Okay. My nose is practically leaking because I'm still a wee bit sick. Anyway, let's go. Let's bust it down. I could hear muffled voices behind the doors, saw blinking lamps. Darkness creeped through the windows, and I felt like school was drifting in open space like a lonely lost spaceship. Yeah, I can read that. Defo. Ah, this one's in English. Yippee! Attention child missing, blah, 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 blah. Years old. After going up to the second floor, I noticed a crowd around a notice board. Everyone was taking part in a lively discussion. I moved closer and took a look at something everyone was interested in through the wall of backpacks. There was a piece of paper with something printed on it glued to the left of the notice board. Yeah. Attention, child missing. Volva I don't know how to say that. Matu King, 10 years old. Volva, 10 years old, grade 4. B, he left his home on January the 5th, around 1600, and never returned. Was last seen at the bridge over the Smorodina River. He was wearing an orange coat with a hood, a black wool cap, a scarf, and mittens with green stripes. Might have had a plastic toy gun on him. Features: 142 centimeters tall, skinny, brown hair, and green eyes. Please call these numbers if you have any information on Volva's whereabouts. These weird phone numbers. Child missing. Volva Matukin. How do you say that? Matukin. We'll say Volva M. That was his name. 4th grader. On that grainy print, Volva looked dead, with a black mouth and dark, empty eye sockets. Could it be that the darkness dwelling within the forest invaded his pores and mutilated his face? The plastic toy gun couldn't protect him from the whispering branches and the hollowing wind. Empty eyes of the lost boy pierced through my soul, as if bleeding. Unable to meet his stare, I turned around and rushed to the window, took a seat on the windowsill. The corridor was slowly filling up with children in groups of few. This art's so good. Nobody paid me any mind. The darkness of school toilets, child's voices were hammering in nursery rhyme. I turned my head toward them, trying to get a better look at their features, but then my attention was stolen by a loud clicking sound. A female teacher marched down the corridor with her chin raised up high. Her heels were hitting the floor like miniature hooves. A girl was trailing her every step. She was also looking pompous, stopping along the way and whispering some secret in her friend's ear. She was probably a class rep since she was carrying an attendance register book.
Екатерина, возьми, пожалуйста. Ekaterina, take this, please. Okay. The teacher opened the classroom door and the crowd of children swarmed in, screaming and pushing. Why does she look evil? What is this devious look? Hello? Out of all of them, a tall, red-headed fat boy caught my attention. His face was full of blisters. It looked like some insides of a pomegranate. Bad feeling rose in the air in the back of my head. I've seen boys like him before. Unsettled eyes, cackling laughter. Look at this steak face. Yeah, you know what? That's fine. Go ahead. Do your thing, bro. You're covered in acne. The girl, who was a smaller copy of the teacher, warned the boy with a wave of her hand and entered the room through the clearing of the crowd. Some other guy stood in the way of the crowd, and the redhead immediately shoved him. Oh, so you're a bully, so you deserve the acne. The boy flew headfirst, flailing his hands, trying to keep his balance. Ew! Look at this! Look at this hideous thing! This guy's devious. The fatso burst out laughing, and a couple of kids joined his nasty cackling. Their laughter sounded like someone was snipping with huge garden scissors. The classroom sucked all of its kids in. The corridor stood empty. I wanted to grow roots and stay on the windowsill. Just a handful of lampposts outside were battling the darkness, writhing like fluorescent fish in the black ocean. Maybe I could still run away. Go outside, dissolve in the dark. I imagined myself running through snow, how it squeaks under my boots, and how I'm becoming lighter and lighter with every step. The ringer's trill blew that illusion away. I tore myself from the window with great effort and took a couple of deep breaths, trying at least to calm down my mad pulse, and entered the classroom. Do I have to? The prim teacher looked at me over the frame of her glasses, clearly annoyed.
Я новенький. Мне вот сказали к вам подойти.
Wizard Harry. The snowy forest trail was winding. Oh my god. It's like I don't know how to read sometimes. The snowy forest trail was winding in front of my eyes. The pines rustled, but it didn't sound predatory anymore. She buried herself in the register and flicked through some pages.
Фамилия-то как?
Петров.
Громче говори. Чего мямлишь?
Петров.
Нет такого.
She measured me with a long and heavy stare, as if trying to see if I was lying. I wanted to sink through the floor. Hazy faces observed all of that from the left. The classroom breathed and snorted in unison, like a living organism, like a dangerous beast.
Ты не ошибся? Нет такого в списке.
My knees chose the worst time to start shaking, and I felt dizzy. I clutched my fists so hard my knuckles became white.
Сказали, 204 кабинет, Лилия Павловна, 6 В.
Apparently, everyone in the class took my words for some sort of joke because they were all laughing.
Что за бардак?
Classroom fell silent. The kids hid their smirks for a better occasion.
Понаберут студентов.
Oh my god, I hate that line. Hid their smirks for a better occasion? Dude, school sucks. Sometimes. Due to other people, these kids can be so cruel.
Только знает, что губяки свои малевать. А я разгребай, значит. А бумаги-то кто заполнять будет? Не первый раз ведь уже. Подожди здесь. Сейчас. Сейчас я им устрою.
The teacher flew past me, mumbling something to herself in righteous anger, and I was left standing at the center of the classroom. Ugh. Like a convict in front of a firing squad, I lowered my gaze, feeling the mocking stares from all around the classroom directed at me. It prickled my skin, danced on it like laser sights. What a zoom, holy crap. Once again, I imagined running far away from this place, fighting the clawing wind, soaring high above the pines in one long jump. The wind at my back is my only companion. The eyes of my future classmates were asking, this new boy, is he one of us or an outsider? Somebody whispered something through a stifled laughter rolled through the classroom.
Доску вытри!
It was easy to guess who was the main prankster here.
Эй, очкарик! Ты чё, не только слепой, но еще и глухой? Доску вытри, говорю!
My knees weren't the only shaky part of my body anymore. I was trembling from head to toe, and I prayed for the teacher to come back sooner. My prayers were answered by the powers that be.
Ну что мне с тобой делать-то? Куда сажать, а? Давай-ка сядь, наверное, с Семеном. Он все равно один.
Еще чего?
Fatso put his backpack on the seat beside him in defiance, scratched his belly, and smirked.
Ты опять за старое? Снова бабушку в школу вызывать?
The classroom went silent.
А чё она мне сделает?
Не она, так я тебе сделаю. Рюкзак убрал быстро.
Simeon? Is that what I heard her say, Simeon? Simeon didn't move a muscle. He started studying the portraits of writers on the walls, looking bored. I needed to do something to resolve this somehow, to save myself. I cleared my throat and continued in a stifled voice. It sounded nothing like me.
Я могу за последнюю парту сесть. Там, кажется, свободно.
The teacher snorted loudly. She looked at me, then at Simeon, and back to me.
Ладно, садись пока туда. А с тобой, Бабурин, мы еще поговорим.
Baburian? Is that his last name? Simeon Baburian?
Чтобы подошел после уроков. Будешь по классу дежурить, ясно?
Simeon forced out a twisted smile. Juicy pimples were growing on the tip of his nose, ripe for the taking. I walked carefully, afraid to stumble and fall, causing another outburst of laughter from everyone. I took my seat at the back of the last table, where I was met with a pile of old posters. The outcasts took their seats and class was ready to start.
Вот и хорошо. Начнем урок. Тема: традиции русской и мировой литературы в рассказе Зощенко «Не надо врать».
Dovshinka. I'm kind of curious about the Russian language. I don't know. Maybe we should learn some. I was learning Polish a little bit, but I kind of stopped that because I'm working on Spanish. The fatso turned back to me. His stare informed me of the coming days, weeks, and months of bullying. I've got my eyes on you, said his watery look. Get a life, dude. I've never really understood bullies, unless they're being, like, abused at home. After a couple of periods, I had already noticed a huge little yellow spit stain in my notebook. Then, at the cafeteria, this Simeon accidentally spilled a glass of compote on me. Compote, let's see what that is. A dessert drink brewed from a mix of dry fruit and berries. Why would you waste that on bullying? What a freak. That's his worst offense so far. And then he flailed his hands around after exiting the toilet so some of the liquid from his hands would get on me. Just before the final period for the day, Simeon pushed me into a buzzing crowd of girls from our class. They made way, cursing, but I couldn't hold my balance and ended up ramming my face into the girl I took for the class rep before, right into her chest, right into an isekai anime. He immediately stepped back, dying from embarrassment. Then she suddenly put her hands on her hips.
Нет, ну вы посмотрите на него. Облапал меня прямо у всех на глазах.
Bro, come on!
Я сейчас все маме расскажу. Тебя из школы выгонят, извращенец.
Oh my god, you're crap too. I should have known from that stank face before. I don't know why I'm acting surprised. There was some sort of sadistic pleasure in her eyes, as if she was a child who was about to put a lit-up match to the Sheffer beetle.
Случайно, меня толкнули. Все видели, слепых среди нас нет.
She stared at my glasses while showing me a creepy smile. I started to fume on the inside, but Simeon's laughter cooled my head.
Толкнули? Чё, правда?
He swaggered up to me, enveloping me in the smell of sunflower seeds and rotting teeth, and then pushed me to the ground.
Вот так, да? И чё ты сделаешь?
The bully towered over me as if saying, "Come on, hit me. Let me see you try. Fight back or endure." You know, I kind of want to see both right now. So I'm going to save right here. First, I'm going to say fight back, and then we're just going to go back and just see what happens. But I think the drama is more important.
Слушай, ты...
My throat went dry. My lips were moving on their own. My voice was akin to a stifled squeal. Simeon wore a mocking smile. Oh, look at that. Look at them teeth.
Давай, давай, продолжай, очкарик. Чё примолк-то? Нам всем очень интересно. Если еще хоть раз меня тронешь...
Simeon slowly stuck out a finger and poked my forehead.
Натронул и чё? Еще хоть раз! Тронул! А вот еще. И еще. И еще. И еще.
He was poking me with his finger so hard that my head tilted backwards. I must not cry, or I'll be done for.
Что ты мне сделаешь, мямля?
My vision went blurry. My soles tore off from the floor. I rushed forward and threw a random punch without looking. What I saw when I opened my eyes was beautiful and horrifying at the same time. Simeon was holding his ear and blinking in amazement. Was I the first person to rebel against his absolute rule? I needed to run, but I was already surrounded by his cronies.
Лилия Павловна! Лилия Павловна! Петров Бабурина ударил!
Simeon's cheek grew even redder and his pimples even whiter, like the heads of a larva. But a smile flashed on his face that was only noticed among his comrades. He got really close to me. The smell of rotten teeth washed over me.
Пиздец!
His voice was evil and dangerous, like someone tore off the lid from a kettle with boiling fat. I was waiting to get hit, counting the thumps of my heart and guessing where his fist will go. The solar plexus, the jaw, the nose. But he just turned around and walked off. A thought, cold and sober and extremely rational, popped in my head. I'm going to get killed today. I don't like that. He said a thought that it was extremely rational to think, I'm going to die today. Russian bullying must be a whole nother beast. It was late to leave school after classes on purpose. Simeon didn't attend the last period, so I was hopeful. What if he decided to dodge the cleaning duty and ran home, forgetting all about me? I heaved a sigh of relief, like someone on death row whose execution was delayed by a day. But I didn't let myself forget his tone, his vengeful gaze, and his scary, electrified smirk. While the other students were leaving school loudly laughing, I was pretending to skim through my books near a window. I was staring outside, nervous. But you know what? We're going to save right here, actually, because I want to see the other one right now. I want to see exactly what would happen if it like makes a difference. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. Yep. Endure. I breathed loudly, stood up, massaging my temples. Because the endure part seems like it would be like who Anton is as like a person. So I don't know. And I actually don't know if this game has like multiple endings or whatever, so. Simeon made a mocking face, as if asking me wordlessly, and what are you gonna do about it? I looked at his red fist that seemed so big to me at the moment and realized if I said even a single word, I'd get hit. And he'll keep on hitting me until I cry, or maybe even that won't stop him, and nobody was going to help me.
Простите, я споткнулся.
Pathetic squeak. If I could actually burn up from shame, I would have been reduced to cinders by now.
Ходить нормально научись. Слепошара.
I lowered my eyes and squeezed past Simeon. He showered me with the smell of decaying teeth.
Пока-пока, терпела.
Fatso let out a loud snort behind my back. My muscles became wooden, and I felt him wiping his hand on my back. I continued walking, listening to demeaning smirks from all sides. It was even worse than I expected. Oh, I was late to leave school after classes on purpose. Oh, this was the same dialogue there. I don't know. The smirks of my classmates stood before my eyes like overturned horseshoes. My class had a lot of fun at my expense, but those who missed the show were asking the others to describe my bullying in full detail. I should have just transferred into a school for freaks. I'd be less conspicuous among hunchbacks, lame-legged, and disfigured. While other students were leaving the school, laughing loudly, I was pretending to skim through my books near a window. I was staring outside, nervous. Oh, you know what? We're gonna hit another save here. And I'm gonna go back to the one where we did punch him in the mouth because I don't like him. I just don't like him. We're just gonna hit this route, okay? Simeon was nowhere to be found in the front yard or near the school gate. I didn't really believe I was this lucky, so I decided to be extra cautious and stayed for some more time in the corridor that was gradually getting less crowded. All of the bustle moved onto the first floor. There was a skeleton peeking out from the biology classroom. Some jokester put a cap with the American condor on its head. The sound of running water were coming from the bathroom. I was the only person left in the whole school. I'm not alone, a sudden thought came to mind. I remembered the missing boy. His portrait was on the notice board near the schedule. I remembered his smile, him looking at me, and the fact that he's mostly likely already dead.
Привет.
I shuddered and turned around. At first, my eyes stumbled upon the back of a violin case, a black violin case. Then I noticed a girl from my class was holding it. She sat in the first row, the second column. I could swear I caught her looking at me a couple of times. And I was sneaking glances at her myself. Sometimes it just feels nice to look at something pretty, the spring, the sky, or a girl that's not in the crowd that laughs at Simeon's jokes. And she wasn't whispering the dirty laundry of other people to Katia. She spent all of the breaks just like me, staying in the classroom or looking in the window or drawing something in her green notebook.
Здравствуй.
Turned red and pretended I was studying the pattern on the wooden floor.
Круто ты ему врезал.
Hell yeah! That's what I'm talking about.
Это вышло случайно. Почти.
I started shoving books in my backpack to at least put something in my hands.
Вроде Семен раньше таким не был. Он к нам недавно перевелся. Бабушка мне его по секрету сказала, что он словно взбесился. Семена даже старшеклассники побаиваются. Представляешь? А ты вот молодец. Не струсил.
Угу.
He hit the mm-hmm. The music is wonderful. I mumbled in reply. Yeah, right. Me? Brave? A hero that has been standing around in the hallway to avoid a beating. The girl looked at me with her clear, attentive eyes.
А ты за рекой живешь? В том деревянном доме?
Ну да.
Там, наверное, страшно. Да еще через лес идти. Я бы так не смогла.
I shivered at the mention of the forest. I thought of intertwining branches of a snake-like trail of endless darkness that spread like mold among the crooked trees. So I straight up lied.
Да не так уж там и страшно. А что тебя так пугает?
She smiled after a brief pause, as if brushing off a daydream.
Да так, ничего. Меня, кстати, Полина зовут.
А меня Антон.
Paulina.
Ну, это я знаю.
Whoops.
Слушай, Антон,
She stumbled as if trying to decide whether she should continue.
а что ты делаешь после школы?
Getting my ass beat. My chest felt prickly after her innocent question, yet somehow it felt pleasant.
Ничего такого.
I stumbled and didn't finish my sentence. Alyssa's predatory smile flashed in front of my eyes. Her playful eyes and the slit in the mask were probably just a product of my imagination, though. What if that fox girl is waiting for me after the school? Or was it another of her weird jokes? I wonder if she's hiding a big red tail under the coat. I suddenly got covered with beads of sweat after a PE class. I wanted to take a shower, as if thinking of the foxy girl made me dirty, soiled my clothes, lured me into the forest's embrace.
У меня сейчас занятие, скрипка, а потом я свободна. Дедушка мне репетитора нанял. Наш учитель музыки, он же скрипач. А здесь, в поселке, ему некому преподавать. Только мне.
She waved her free hand in the air, imitating the movement of a bow on violin strings. I could almost hear the music. It chased Alyssa out of my head. I looked at Paulina's lips, catching her every word, and was frozen from the unusual sensations. They were warm, soothing, and tingly. It felt like I was very small and the feelings were immense, and they couldn't fit inside me.
Тут говорят, что у нас в поселке маньяк завелся. Раньше со школы меня всегда дедушка забирал, но в последнее время ему не здоровится.
I took a glance at Volva's photo. His eye wells were studying me. His lips were wearing black lipstick. Yeah, that. You're imagining things, buddy. That's not right. Just like the portrait on the gravestone.
Ты не подумай, я не трусишка, просто... Просто мне кажется, что с тобой будет безопаснее. Антон, ты сможешь проводить меня до дома?
Hit a bully in the face, get a girl to notice you, get a girl to want you to walk her home because she feels safe around you. I made the right choice. There it was. Finally, everything that I read about in the adventure books, everything I dreamt about was seeping into my life. A mysterious crime, a beautiful stranger, and a heroic duel. Thinking of Simeon instantly sobered me up, returned me back to Earth, and started shaking under my feet like a deck of a ship. He's like, wait, I'm gonna get my ass beat. Nah, come on, we can do it. Well, he's got minions though. Whatever, we'll see how this goes. If only I could rise to the occasion in front of Polina. Because no matter how brave I was trying to act, it's obvious for both of us that I wouldn't be able to stand a chance against a big guy like that. And him knocking me out won't ever be the worst of it. The worst part is that Polina will see all of that. She'll laugh at me like everybody else. No, I don't need anybody to see me in such a shameful state.
Сегодня вряд ли получится. Ты же знаешь, Семен, скорее всего, караулит на школьном дворе. Лучше мне с ним разобраться лично, по-мужски.
Глупости какие.
Polina brushed off some hair from her forehead, and I sensed a weak aroma of blackberry. I don't know why I read that word as blackery. Like, that's what I started to say, instead of blackberry. Polina was like water when you were thirsty. You gulp it down, still wanted more. Bro, you just met. I remember the summer evenings at the country house, the fire's pungent smoke, the berries hanging over our fence from the neighbors, and a soft cover of pine needles under my soles. Those few peaceful days when I felt completely safe. My mom resting in the hammock, my dad putting meat on a skewer. But have I foreseen the upcoming catastrophe and the crackle of the coals and our parents' laughs and the smell of the fleeting July? But I have seen how fragile that world was.
Думаешь, этот дикарь будет честно драться?
She's right.
Со своими дружками набросятся всем скопом, опомниться даже не дадут.
She's super right. Polina suddenly flashed a devious smile.
Но если мы пойдем вместе, это их ошарашит. Я же не только первая скрипка на деревне. Я ведь еще и девочка.
I noticed.
Слышала от знакомого хулигана, что он никогда не нападает на кого-то в присутствии девушки. Представляешь, у них кодекс чести такой.
Yeah. A delinquent, you know, I thought, worried. Is he better than me? Taller, more handsome? Chill, Red Biller.
Ой, мне на музыку пора.
She made a couple of steps and stopped. Amazing. Polina didn't look like those beauties from the magazine posters or actresses from the movies. But in the flickering light of the ceiling lamp, she looked much more alluring.
А ты играешь на чем-нибудь?
My parents bought me a guitar a couple of years ago. I immediately remembered my meager attempts at making music. A minor, E major, or oh my god. A minor, E minor, change. We're all waiting for change. Soy's song echoed my thoughts. Wait, what is this? Victor Soy, of a singer and a frontman of the popular Soviet rock band Kino, that played a mix of new wave and post-punk. Their hit song, Perimin, Changes, is one of the most popular rock tracks of the new Russian era. Died in a car accident. That's sad. I'm gonna listen to that for a sec. Let's see. I'm probably gonna have to cut this, just copyright, but Perimin. Yeah, that was a pretty good song. It's like 4 minutes and 52 seconds, but it's really nice. Good flow. Sounds like a song you'd listen to while just riding around or doing whatever. Zoe's song echoed my thoughts and my desire to change something. That guitar got lost somewhere as if refusing to move to the old house near the forest. I think my parents gave it away to someone that needed it more.
Ой, не играю.
Жалко. Ну ладно, я побежала. Пока!
How do you say baka? Her shout was captured by the loud echo. Her shoes also echoed through the school hallways. I wasn't sure if Polina heard me. I looked out the window again. The schoolyard was empty, just a couple of grade schoolers throwing snowballs at each other. Nobody who looked like a hulking simian with his cronies. This was giving me hope. What should I do? Polina could become my friend, the first one in this new place. Besides, she may be in real danger of meeting a killer, and I'll be her defender, her knight. And even though my inner voice was hesitant and whispered about running away from the killers lurking in the woods at night, Polina was worth the risk. But the red cunning fox was also intriguing. She promised me to help look for Vova, and this will bring me a reward. More money will always guarantee peace in my family. Gifts for Olya. I imagine my sister happy like those girls who get prizes from Supanev in the finest hour. The program, Soviet and Russian TV host, most prolific showman of the Russian kids' TV in the 90s, he hosted teen quizzes as well as the computer entertainment shows. Supanev died on December 8th, 2001 when he crashed his snowmobile into a river pier. She'll be dancing with the famous singers, maybe a new popular boys band like whatever this band is. I don't need to look at the glossary for that. It's a band. Mom and dad hugging in the Ostankino Pavilion, and then all of us going to Disneyland. Are they gonna make me choose between going to see her or Alyssa? Ah, I see. What's this? Somebody left their school shoes on the windowsill. Judging from their size, they belong to a boy my age. Turn me around and I'll tell you who's stupid. I bet something offensive is written on the other side. I wonder how long would Simeon keep turning it and around if he fell to his hands. An abandoned zinc bucket with a rag on the bottom of it, filled to the brim with murky tap water. It reeked of salty chemicals and the stench was so intense that I felt sick. I staggered away from it, praying that I don't meet the same fate as the person on cleaning duty. Okay, so now we have another major choice to make. And I think for this one, we're gonna go with Alyssa. Because I'm really curious about the forest. After closing my backpack, I ran down the stairs. She's got a trophy that said, achievement that says you went on a date with Alyssa. What? I scanned my surroundings through the window and the mall hall and the main hall. Nobody suspicious in sight. The school doors creaked. The sound was similar to the music from a thriller, the high note that comes before an intense scene. I ran around the school corner, trying not to catch anyone's attention. The smell of pastry and burnt sugar wafted from the school cafeteria. I froze when I saw a silhouette in the second floor window. It must be Polina, gliding a bow on violin strings with her head slightly tilted to the side. I wish I could hear the melody she played, but Polina was only a dark outline on the window's yellow sheet. I dragged my feet forward. The net on a football goal was the yard fluttered. The net on a football goal in the yard fluttered in the wind. The same wind that hurled small white whirlwinds through the field. Somewhere nearby, an invisible tractor was humming, scaring away the crowd of calling birds. The hum of its engine sounded like the howls of hungry beasts that chased me through the snowy desert. Alyssa and her scary mask also came to mind. Right now, in the light of the day, it was really hard to believe she was real. What did she say back then? At the backyard near the hangman. What did she mean by that? Well, she obviously meant this, but...
Извините.
Silhouette turned around the corner and walked deeper into the dead end, leaving cigarette smoke in its wake. It was an adult. Teacher, maybe? It's the same dude from the front. Why is he acting like a weirdo? A forest squirrel chomping on sunflower seeds. Someone from the school is probably feeding her. Interesting. I looked at the wall and there was a hanged man drawn under the thin black line of resin. Someone played the hangman here. Something was scribbled on both sides of the man. Escape, fear, truth.
Ближе, мой сладкий.
It took me a while to realize there was a sound coming from where the sound was coming from. My eyes scrolled through the cul-de-sac at the school backyard. I'm so sorry. My nose is really messing with me. I keep messing up my words. I don't mean to. My eyes strolled through the cul-de-sac in the school backyard, through windows and snow. When the snow pile started trembling like a volcano before it erupts.
Дай твое сердце.
In the blink of an eye, the white crust crumbled and the fox jumped at me. She made a gracious bow, enjoying the effect her appearance had on me. Silver of snow shined in her coat. I couldn't even imagine that thinking about girls with tails can be this. I don't know what to compare it to. Something infectious, toxically sweet.
Отпор не дал, сердце потерял.
She giggled so enthusiastically that it forced me to smile.
Ну тебе.
I quickly rolled a ball of snow and threw it at Alyssa. She tried to dodge it, but it was too late. Hit to the shoulder.
Ох ты ж, гадкий мальчишка.
Да, вот такой я.
The fox slowly backed down, trying to arm herself.
Ты хитер, да мы хитрей. Ловок ты, да мы ловчей. Ха!
Her retribution was soft. Snowball arched its way above the snowy yard, and the ravens flying in the air. I wanted to duck, but slipped and fell to my knees. And while I was getting up, I caught a huge chunk of snow with my face. It burned from the cold. I swore loudly from immense disappointment,
Блядь!
using the words I heard in Sector Gaza's song on the cassettes I had from my parents. Did he just say Bliat? Look at Bliat. Sector Gaza, a Soviet-Russian rock band that played the so-called kolkhoz hillbilly punk. Founded by songwriter and singer Yuri... I am butchering these names. I'll just say this one, Yurikoi. The band often paid homages to popular Western rock bands and used a lot of profanity and fairy tale themes in their lyrics. Supposedly died from overdosing on drugs. If Dad heard this, he would have definitely given me a good whipping. He had very low tolerance toward obscene words and always communicated in clean Russian.
Да ладно тебе. Не больно же совсем.
He brushed off my hood as if to show compassion, took me by the elbow and helped me get up. With care uncharacteristic for a child, she took off my glasses, blew away the snowflakes that were stuck on them, and handed them back.
Вот так. Один-один, Тоша.
Only people who were close to me called me that. And I haven't even seen her real face. Didn't know her last name, what class she was from, and if she had a real tail under her coat.
Желаешь отыграться?
Мы хотели поискать Вову, помнишь? Лучше поторопиться, а то меня родители станут искать.
The fox let out a lazy yawn.
Родители. Как скучно. Да давай чуть-чуть поиграем. Все равно тебе дома тоскливо.
А ты откуда знаешь?
Тоже мне тайна. Со взрослыми да в четырех стенах. Тоска смертная. Всегда. У меня от стены взрослых нервный тик. Вот.
Her furry fox brows started twitching. I faked a laugh in reply, unsure whether being able to move parts of her mask like that was genuinely funny or not.
Ну же, Тоша, решайся. Я же вижу, ты хочешь поиграть. Если победишь...
The fox girl got dangerously close to me and stood on her tiptoes, almost touching my face with her rough little nose. Playful fires danced deep in her eyes. She smelled nice, like berries and saccharin. Is this the smell of independence and true freedom? I mean, the kind where all you have to do in your life is run wild and eat sweets. Her whisper poured into my ear like scalding hot water.
Если победишь, буду твоим провожатым.
I see.
Поверь, мне есть что тебе показать. Найдем твоего Вову.
I felt as if a giant invisible spring bent inside me. My tummy hurt. My stomach hurt. But the sensation was somehow not exactly unpleasant. It was so weird. I just had a conversation with Polina and now Alyssa was going to drag me along with her. I felt like my mind was becoming blurry, splitting in two. Like those gravestones on the TV record. Like I was a shonen protagonist.
А если проиграю?
Душу из тебя выцарапаю, неженка. Давай, скорей.
She burst out laughing, wiping the hem of her coat, and ran toward the road we used to come to school in the morning. Her promise sounded almost like a threat. Hypnotized me. I bit down and scooped up some snow. I wish I had a device that could tell whether Alyssa was joking or being serious. Or is there always a third option with people like her? Between her jokes, her laughter, and her not hot breath on my ear, I wanted to win. Punish her for the lightness and freedom she possessed that was clearly too much for an average girl. When I, on the other hand, was possessed or rather intoxicated by the thirst for adventure by my curiosity. Just like that time I ate cherries from Mom's Nalivka, and lied down with my eyes closed while the bed was spinning underneath me. What is that? Nalivka, a sweet alcoholic drink made from fruits and berries, often called berry vodka. It's normally contains only 25 to 30%. Only 25 to 30% of alcohol. Man, Russians are just built different. So you got drunk. I spat and cleaned my lips. You want to play, little sister Fox? Well then, let's play. I earned myself the snowball and chased the fleeing fox girl. I saw a familiar street with the wooden posts that didn't look scary anymore. They were just logs covered in snow. If I were to shout now, the guard dogs would start barking and their owners would peek out from their windows. Alyssa's small silhouette was mocking me from far away, so it was useless to try hitting her with a snowball for now. Waste of ammunition. Birches, mutilated by the cold, peeked out to view along the clear road. A giant snow pile towered near one of the trees. This is probably the place where the tractor brought all the snow from the village. A whole family of foxes would fit such a pile. No, I thought. She's the only fox around here. She's alone and already too much. My second morning acquaintance was running after near the... Odd. My second morning acquaintance was running around near the edge of the forest, the stray dog with a mangy tail. She sniffed around and marked the naked berry bushes and ran toward the other ones. Alyssa showed up from under the hill.
Жулька, за мной, девочка.
The dog's ears perked up. It barked in agreement and followed her lead. We ran farther and farther, exchanging snowballs, laughing and stumbling. The winter forest towered in front of us, reaching the low clouds. We were at the edge of its shadow, bony and almost corporeal. Fox hid behind a huge pine, clearly trying to get close to me and shove some snow down my collar. It was a good plan, but Joka, who was running circles around her, gave her away. I broke off a dry branch and decided to act even thicker. Trickier, I think he said, actually. I put my hat on it and peeked from the side of the pine. I'll make her think that it's my head. I bit my lip to stop myself from laughing, then jumped out from the other side and performed a point-blank throw. Alyssa probably cracked my plan right away, but still let me win 3-1. I was wounded in the leg and she got shot in the chest and in the stomach, losing imaginary blood in front of my eyes, pleading for mercy while also choking from laughter.
Молюсь, жалься. Помираю.
Да все, живи!
Спасибо, добрый рыцарь.
She pretended to bow to me, then grabbed 2 handfuls of snow and like a dying warrior threw them my way in a last-ditch effort. I dodged her attack easily, laughing uncontrollably and being mad at the same time. I finished her with 2 precise shots.
Живи, живи. Научил бы меня жить, раз умный такой.
Молчи, ты умерла уже.
Тоже мне помеха. Давай сыграем в кое-что поинтереснее.
She dashed behind the trees after blowing snow in my direction.
Раз, два, прилети, сова. 3, 4, 5. Время поиграть.
I hesitantly moved toward the windfall.
6, да, 6. Дыбом волчья шерсть.
I thought I was a real tail gliding across the bushes. I rushed to the intertwined branches that helped Alyssa to hide, as if something was pulling me there. I had to move them, tear them off like a spider web. Branches sprang back in my face, but it felt like they were caressing my cheeks and not hitting them. I was sweating, but still had a lot of stamina left. I'll make sure to catch you, little fox. Alyssa's voice was wandering among the windfall.
7, 8. Бьем копытом озимь. А я тебя недооценила. Думала, ты просто мальчик.
Confident that she was behind the dry pine, I rushed to intercept her. But the local acoustics tricked me. Her voice was already echoing from the other side.
Зайчик. Шустренький, хорошенький.
A snowball flew at me from the shadows, whistling near my ear.
Я тебе дам, зайчик.
Дай мне зайчика, дай.
A bright fox fur coat flashed near a rotten stump. I rushed there, jumping over a ravine.
Зайчик, выходи скорей. Мясом накорми зверей.
This furry collar that flashed from every tree was the most important thing in the world for me. My lips started trembling as if I was a cowboy that was chasing his prey. One jump, and the fox was in my embrace, so smooth and desirable.
Все, 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 ты победил.
She leaned against the scratchy bark and started puffing.
Пожалуйста, давай немного отдохнем. Ты слишком быстрый, слишком сильный, лакомый, слишком.
Come again? Satisfied, I put my hands on my sides, waiting for the spoils of war from the defeated girl. But what I got instead was a sly snowball to my smug face. The cunning fox ran away, roaring with laughter, but I wasn't even mad about it. I needed to catch up to Alyssa, to tackle her, to subdue her. Tear off her mask and see everything. Ooh.
Бедный зайчик прыгает возле мокрых сосен. Страшно в лапы волку серому попасть. Думает о лете, прижимает уши. На небо косится, небо не видать.
Sky really did disappear under the trees. I moved using the barking of Joka as a guide, since she was closely following her owner. I was getting closer. The same trail I imagined back at school blinked under my feet. It turned out that running like there's no tomorrow was so easy. Faster, higher, faster. I felt like there was a well of untapped potential inside me and I drew from it. My muscles were buzzing, my lungs felt bigger, and I felt much stronger overall. Even my vision became sharper. I saw every icy branch, every dent in the bark. Something colorful was lying near the bushes. A piece of clothing. Another colorful spot in the night. Oh, sorry, to the right. Alyssa was losing her clothes on the run, like shedding her skin. I also used my teeth to take off my mittens, excited by all of that. I'll get naked and feel all the wind to the last drop. Faster. I reached out to take off my hat, to throw away everything that stops me from running wild in this endless forest. The backpack slowed me down, so I threw it in the snow along with all the other pins that were inside, with all the notebooks, all of my drawings on the sidelines, and a dinosaur for Olia. Olia. Suddenly, a clear picture came into my mind. My sister standing still near a window, basking in the dusking sun. Her small childish palms were pressed to the glass, leaving marks when they warmed it up. She could warm up the whole world like that. She's looking at the taiga and saying my name.
Тоша!
Stopped, took a deep breath and realized how rash and stupid I was, trying to undress in the middle of the forest while chasing a fox. I returned to get my backpack as if it was a part of my being I dropped. I remembered again how my sister didn't like to be left home alone. She asked me to come home faster. What kind of brother am I? Running in the forest that I used to scare my sister with. I'm having fun while she's not even allowed over the doorstep. Sit in your cage, Olia. Watch the same cartoons over and over.
Тоша!
Да, Оленька.
Тоша, а куда? Куда так скачешь, чмошник?
Oh. From the darkness behind the pines, just like cavemen from their cave, appeared smirking Simeon and a bunch of his cronies.
Ну, здорово, Антошка. Хе-хе, не вышло сдрыснуть, да?
Очкарик в жопе шарик на.
Bro, I know you are not talking. Look at that yee ass haircut and fucked up teeth. They surrounded me like a carnivorous pride, making me step back. The smell of sweat and tobacco attacked my nostrils. The inside of my mouth felt salty, as if I'd licked a battery.
Алиса!
The name of my companion turned into a stifled cough. Pines were swaying back and forth like solemn guardians. I was frantically looking everywhere. I dreamt of finding that fox among the trees, expected her to come to my rescue. But only the wind replied to my pleas.
Где Алиса? Что вы с ней сделали?
I shuddered after hearing my own voice. It sounded unnatural, rough, and scary.
Какая еще Алиса? У тебя чё, кукуха поехала? Не ссы, ща вмиг вылечим.
The fatso spit through the gap in his teeth and pushed me so hard that I hit my back against a tree.
Ну как, полегчало?
Can't be. Did Alyssa really lure me into this trap? To these bastards? No, I can't believe this.
Глядите-ка, пацаны, а здесь он не такой борзый, как в школе.
Ага, вылитый терпиловна.
Ты, сука, приезжая, не на того руку поднял.
Simeon was moving toward me, readying his fist. In that moment, the other delinquent in track pants made a loud whistle and the hulking boy lowered his hand. It was unexpected. Seems like Barbarin wasn't the leader of this gang. In reality, they were all listening to the boy who was looking like a small carnivore with very strong and sharp teeth. Probably decided to have some fun at my expense first.
Слышь, Гондон Батькович,
Hey.
это что ли твоя Алиса?
Only then I noticed Jolka beside my legs, trembling from the cold, snow plastered all over its fur. The delinquent squatted in front of the dog and beckoned it with his hand.
Ой ты, батюшки. Алиса, ко мне, сучка блохастая.
You better not do anything to the damn dog, bro. The others let out nasty laughs. The dog's ears perked up and she started carefully moving closer.
Да, иди, дам кое-чего.
I hope you die. I hope something comes out of the woods and... Let me take a step back. The dog didn't even have a chance to sniff him when his animal abuser caught it by the ear and kicked it right under the tail so hard it flew into the nearest snow pile, squealing. The whole gang burst out laughing and my heart got encrusted in ice. Even the birds that were perched up in the tree branches let out frightening caws. At the edge of my vision, I saw something flash in the illusory twilight of the sleeping forest. Or were that just bushes moving their icy branches in the wind?
Ромка, она ж больше срать не сможет.
You guys are truly evil.
Давай теперь я.
You know what? There's gonna be some sort of comeuppance in a second, and it's all gonna be all right.
Второй раз ебану минус на минус даст плюс.
The stray was already nowhere to be seen.
Чего ты, баран? Втолкуй его на очкарику, где его место. Только так, чтобы он понял.
Ага, за ним кофякна. Этот очкарик тебе при всем классе всек.
Да без Б.
Simeon brought his sizable signet ring with some geometric shape carved in it up to my face.
Ща, парашник, я тебе этой печаткой так заряжу. Клеймо на всю жизнь останется.
Where did all of my inner strength and bravery go?
Стой!
Stop. A wizzy whisper left my lips and my head tilted forward. Hitting Simeon's fist, red sparks flew from my eyes.
Бяша! Подсоби!
Simeon gave me a rough push forward toward the bastard with slanting eyes, and he tripped me. I fell on the sharp crust of ice, and Fatso stepped on my hand, preventing me from getting up. A painful groan escaped my throat.
Слыхали, как заныл? А ты случаем не педик?
I started to lose breath from anger and resentment. The pain was growing. My ear was hot and pulsating pain was shooting through it, like it was cut off and a ball of nettle was sewn in its place.
Молчишь, Антошка? Отвечай, ты педик?
At this moment, I felt pure, unbridled rage, the amalgamation of my anger. Like the sprout's ink, it rose from the depths of my mind, filling all my thoughts.
Пари! Знаете, что мой отец...
Кто-то педик?
Simeon bursts out laughing. This became the last straw. Fear and anger were grappling inside me like mad dogs.
Едой занимался, поняли? Он еще воевал. Таких, как вы, с закрытыми глазами убивает. Я только слово скажу, он...
Ren'Py lifted up his arm, stopping my torrent of lies, and made a couple of steps forward. Simeon slowly backed off, giving me an opportunity to stand up. Did he believe me? I was confused by my face, twisted with rage.
Воевал, говоришь? Мой батя тоже воевал. В Афгане. А твой?
И мой.
Да, и в каких войсках, интересно?
I stumbled. Fear chomped at my in my rage's throat and made it bleed.
Да он фуфло гонит, Ромка. Бля, будуна.
Думал, меня так просто развести? Я тебя, сучонка, насквозь вижу.
There was a nasty smile on his face now. This didn't bode well for me.
Ты сам себе приговор подписал.
В школе тебя училка спасла, ну а теперь все. Хана тебе.
Во-во. Давай, Антошка, молись, чтобы твой труп по весне нашли мне.
Сидел бы ниже травы, был бы целочкой. Жирного стукнул, одно дело. Но про Афган пиздеть, где мой батя под пулями. Долг интернациональный. В Даште Марго, блядь.
Dashte Margo, what's that? Is that like a Veterans Day or something? A desert region in the southern provinces of Helmand and Nimruns in Afghanistan. This name can be translated into English as Plain of Death. During the conflict in Afghanistan, the Soviet army destroyed countless drug caravans headed to Iran there. Let's see.
Сёма, ушатай-ка его.
The delinquents closed in on me again, and I ended up in front of Simeon. Blood was pumping in my temples. Branches were swaying back and forth as whispering something, giving me help. I gritted my teeth, fighting the thought that I looked silly, and took a boxing stance I often saw in the movies.
Пират и Майк Тайсон.
This was my first fight ever. I'll remember it for the rest of my life, if I don't kick the bucket, of course. At the edge of my vision, I noticed the darkness writhe again, as if someone was walking back and forth there. I sensed Roma's claws grab my backpack.
Манатки, Антошка. Махаться мешает.
I was about to refuse, unwilling to cooperate with the bastard, but then he fished a butterfly knife out of his pocket with one smooth motion, spun it as if showing off, and put the blade up to my neck.
Слышь, Фрей, расслабься, а то больно будет.
I let out a cloud of steam instead of words. Ren'Py pulled with all his might, and my backpack ended up in his hands, calm and relaxed. An insidious smile on his face, he looked into my backpack.
От нас что-то скрываешь, да? У меня в школе какая-то крыса сменку подрезала. Ща поглядим, может, это был... Опачки!
Ren'Py gave me a dubious smile.
Так, а что это у нас здесь?
My text and notebooks fell to snow. In the snow, sorry. He was holding my backpack in one hand and something weird in the other. It looked like a mask. Roma lifted it high as if showing to someone else. Someone in the treetops, the twilight among the trees. An old bunny mask. Long, worn-out ears, barely visible nose and whiskers. Mangy fur on the sides. Where did it come from? Who put it there? Simeon laughed.
Новый год уже прошел, мудила. Или ты реально поехавший? Это не мое.
Да как не твое, В твоем портфеле лежала она.
Ren'Py was watching the scene unfold with an evil smile on his face.
А знаешь что? Надевай.
Зачем?
Надевай, говорю. Попрыгаешь перед нами, зайчик.
Давай, давай! Или без штанов домой пойдешь на.
Anything but this. What if someone from our class will pass by?
Дену.
Сёма, надень-ка на него.
Yasha rushed to his friend's side and took the worn-out mask from him with a buffoonish bow. Then he passed it to Simeon, who was already rubbing his hands in anticipation. I looked around the pine woods, as if waiting for help, as if the shadows that writhe around us would take pity on me and take my side. Branches looked like arms twisted at unnatural angles. Blackened bark was their charred skin, and the darkness was the smoke they produced. I can't run. Won't get away. They'll catch me. And then...
Только учти, Сёма. Если он скакать не станет, ты сам за него поскачешь.
Этот чмошник и не станет? Да погляди на него, он же дурик конченый.
Этот дурик тебе уже раз в жбан зарядил.
Ромка прав. Давай, толстый, восстанавливай авторитетно.
Или сам у нас запрыгаешь так, что тетяндра отцепится.
He must indeed be scared of Ren'Py. Simeon swore silently and glared at me.
Вот. Это чтобы маска хорошо налезла.
He hurled a huge ball of spit on the inside of the plastic bunny face and put it closer to mine. His spit looked like a squashed spider. Ren'Py's face twisted. He spasmed like a beast, like he wanted to tell Simeon something, but then he suddenly stopped. Simeon was still close by, with a disgusting smirk on his face and a terrible smell coming from his mouth.
Надевай, быра, а то урою.
The mask almost looked even more disgusting now, yet despite everything, I felt like it was a chance for salvation. It could become my second skin. If only I was to put it on. If only my face was to touch its bumpy surface. I'm sure the fur will glitter, the ears will tremble like they're alive. I just need to put it on. Simeon and his friends will be gone. Forever. Tell to fuck off or put on. Well, we'll save here, of course. Boom shakalaka. We're gonna put it on. I reached out. My hand wasn't shaking anymore. Simeon handed me the mask and let out an evil laugh. The fur felt warm to the touch, just like I expected. I got goosebumps. Electricity flowed through my spine.
Мое спасение.
A voice whispered to me from the well of my subconscious, "Just put it on and nobody will hurt you." The forest froze, gazing at me with cracks in the bark. I acted slowly. I took off my glasses. Got rid of the nasty spit on the paper mache. There was movement inside of the bunny face, as if something was trying to break out, and I needed to help it. I lifted up the mask and started moving it toward my flaming cheeks. Just like in that movie with Jim Carrey. This mask had power. This mask had strength. Tartan touched my skin and enveloped my skull. My nose took the shape of my face. It smelled like an animal lair in pine. My lips touched some sort of hard, wavy material. My armor. Strangely enough, through the slits of the old carnival mask, I was able to see as good as through my glasses. A trio of boys frozen in the clearing, snowflakes frozen in the air, the trees whose shadows formed black streams toward me, and a weird silhouette in the early twilight behind the windfall. All that silence, Simeon nervously whispered.
Пацаны, что это с ним?
I broadened my shoulders. My muscles felt like they were made of steels. Invisible plumes of fog flew toward me, breaking off the trees. I was absorbing the forest power with every pore of my body. I smiled underneath the mask. No, I showed my teeth. My fists were itching. My stomach was growling.
Он превращается!
You asked for this. I made a step forward. Simeon carefully stepped toward me as if he was walking on thin ice. The trail from my dreams snaked in front of me again. Endless, alluring. It was beckoning me away from all the problems to the new wonderful world, the world of Magic Neverland. I pulled on the zipper, opened my coat, and threw it to the snow with a fast motion, then growled. I felt like something was frantically looking for the exit underneath my skin. I went towards Simeon.
Он превращается!
I don't think this is what we think it is. They do a really good job of describing a whole lot of things, of setting up certain things, and then we'll just see.
Твою мать! Превращается!
Конченого мудака!
The clearing blew up in hysteric laughter. Biasha was clutching his stomach. Roma smirked, shaking his head. And Simeon, who was laughing the most out of all three, spat on his knuckles and waved his fist like a club.
Ну и дебил же ты, Тошик.
A fist collided with my mask. The fur didn't dampen the blow at all. There was no power, no magic smoke coming from the pines. I flew toward the bushes and landed on my butt. My vision, bolstered by adrenaline a moment before, returned to normal.
Вот это был номер. Думал, он на четвереньки встанет и сгрызет нас всех, как морковку.
Не, ну вы видели? Видели?
Это считается, что он попрыгал.
Это даже лучше.
I sobbed. The mask had one advantage. If I cried now, nobody would see my tears.
Дурик. Да тебе в психбольнице место.
Психбольница для животных, на!
Simeon put his knee into the snow pile and ripped the glasses out of my numbed fingers. That's annoying.
Я домой не дойду. Чё ж, знаешь, какой у зайцев нюх? По запаху доберешься, не ссы. Прыг-скок, прыг-скок.
Simeon shoved the trophy into his pocket and flashed me a toothy grin.
Кролики очки не носят.
А теперь вали отсюда, Даун.
Stood up, still wobbly. The trees became a blurry, dark wall. 3 bright silhouettes were wobbling around me. There were black spots in them, their eye sockets and mouths, but it looked to me like there was more of them than it should be. I turned to the forest. Simeon's boot came to my rescue, kicking me in the butt and quickening my shameful retreat.
Прыг-скок, прыг-скок!
I threw the mask into a ravine out of spite, and then zigzagged through the fire break, alone in a giant snow-laden world. The trunks around me bent in all directions. Their treetops disappeared into the darkness above me. The sky was pushing me down. I wanted to cry, but my eyes were completely dry by now. Only sadness and longing were left, a desire to bury myself under the snow or leave for the Neverland, joining Volva and Sinya. I didn't care where to go, just somewhere far from here. Somewhere very far away.
Так, я не поняла. Антон, а где очки? Потерял?
Да, ну, мам,
И как можно быть таким рассеянным? Ты думаешь, я деньги печатаю? Как же? Будешь до следующего года в старых очках ходить.
Fully arrest me.
А я лису видела!
Surprise akin to a shotgun blast. I could only flap my lips in reply. Cup shattered into many pieces with a loud thing. My mom let it fall off of her hands. Her face was pale and her eyes were glued to the ground. This pause, just a split second, felt like an eternity. Then my mom spoke with disappointment.
То сова, то лиса. Когда ж тебе надоест?
Правда, правда! Такая пушистая! Она у забора стояла на задних лапах, совсем как человек. Она меня позвала, а тут мама вышла, и лиса убежала.
Не было там никакой лисы. Не выдумывай.
Не подходи к ней.
If it was necessary, I was ready to shake my sister as if she was a doll made of cloth.
Ты чего, Тоша?
Не подходи, слышишь?
Mom entered the hallway and gave me a surprised look. I hesitated.
Ну, лиса ведь укусить может.
I remembered fairy tales where foxes used to kidnap children. I imagined my Alyssa liberated, carnivorous, running through the night forest with a dangling sack in her hands.
Это ж была не настоящая лиса. Расскажи ему, Оль.
Она на двух ногах ходила, а еще была в платье одета. Только она была взаправду.
Видишь?
Mom showed us a tired smile, as if it was the only explanation needed. I also forced myself to smile. My smile was like a thin piece of soap, right before it dissolves completely on your palm. But when I was left alone with my sister, I whispered,
Еще раз увидишь ее, беги.
shut my eyes and threw the vitamins in my mouth, washed them down with water. Please stop driving me mad. Please. I was doing my homework on Friday evening like usual. I'd already finished the hardest part. There was only my art homework left, my favorite subject.